Once again, hello there, wrestling fans! Welcome to the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. I am your host, Joe the Panther the Third. And now introducing to the mic, my awesome, wounded, but still here, co-host, the bruised happy heel himself, Metal Geek.
What's going on, Ringside Crew? How's it going, everyone? What's going on, internationally known? What's going on, Joe?
Not too much. You got to stop eating them rocks, Geek. They're not them teeth.
Yeah, the wisdom tooth just got pulled just now. So,
I guess you're not that smart today, Geek. You feel a little dumb. The knowledge is running away from you. So you ready to introduce this really big guest we have?
He's an awesome guest. He's not just a guest. He's the guest.
Let's give a warm Dudes at Ringside welcome to Benjamin Wood, the CEO of 11 Pro.
That's Benjamin J. Wood. But it's
Benjamin
okay.
J. Wood, sorry.
Benjamin J. Woods.
Grab you by your collar and force you to do a reintroduction. But if
okay, you want to do this? Is gonna be a first for Dudes at Ringside. We'll take you off and then we'll reintroduce him. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Okay. Once again, let's give a warm Dudes at Ringside welcome to Benjamin J. Wood of 11 Pro.
Excellent. Might not be something in your life is possible. I don't know. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Honestly, though, it's an honor to be here. International people are watching in like the far corners of Saskatchewan. Like it's unbelievable.
Yeah, exactly. We have people from Australia, the UK watching us. Germany is another one. Canada, so we're pretty internationally known.
Yeah.
Getting up there.
Yeah. So if our fans are not familiar with it, what they should be by now.
Probably a lot of people aren't familiar with me, but my story is quite unique. I've been around the wrestling business over 20 years. I was a part of the OVW developmental stock in 2003, back in the heyday of talent, and I wrestled pretty much all over the country. Internationally, I've never actually had the chance outside the country. Had a chance to do a tour back in 2003, and it was between going to OVW and going to Europe. I look back, I should have maybe waited a little bit longer to go to OVW and took that opportunity to go to Europe. But back then, it was just a plane ticket and no guarantee on anything else once you got there, and I wasn't so sure. But I don't know, it could have been awesome. So, for the past 4.5 years, I have been part of an organization here in Louisiana called Elevate Pro Wrestling, and we have elevated pro wrestling in the South to a whole new level. Throughout the course of the last 4 years, numerous superstars have come through our organization and gone on to much bigger things. And the talent that we are raising now in the Performance Center are also out and getting their feet wet in the wrestling business, and you couldn't ask for anything more than opportunity and a hungry, young, passionate, superstars of the future, which is the motto of everything that I've been taught in pro wrestling.
Awesome. How did Elevation Pro get started?
Well, Elevate Pro was started in around 2017. It was started by Alex Cruz and a couple other people from the St. Bernard Parish in Louisiana. Brittany and myself came along probably somewhere towards the end of 2017. We were previously working for another promotion in Louisiana, which I refuse to mention. And we basically were looking to start out new with a better opportunity, which we found when we got to Elevate Pro. And immediately she was taking over the media correspondence. I was taking over the backstage booking and the turn things around and really hit a new gear and a new momentum, and really started branching out through the state of Louisiana. We were running throughout the state and making an international name for ourselves. People were starting to pick up the vibe. We had a good stream going on Fight TV and streaming on our YouTube channel. So people were picking up and subscribing and watching our content. And the company just started to form and grow. And it's pretty much continues to do that to this very day, to this very moment, this exact second.
It's awesome. So, like, what is like your like biggest crowd you've had so far since the pandemic is like the crowd's back? Have you had like a big crowd so far for like your events?
We ran 2 shows under our own banner. We ran in Picayune, Mississippi, in a small venue back in February, and we sold out the building maximum nap, which was only 150 people to allow the sell tickets for. So that was a good start and a good warm-up. Our home base has always been Chalmette, Louisiana, and New Orleans, Louisiana, and we were looking to get back into the building on January of 2020, right before the pandemic. We were on a roll coming off our biggest show of the year in October. It was our anniversary show. We ran at the Segura Center in Chalmette, the historic Segura Center, where Mid-South Wrestling used to come through and right in the territory, JYD and the whole bunch. And just an honor to be in that building. We did a free show for the community, drew over 675 fans, and it was a really awesome experience. That momentum took us into January. We did a show from the ashes, basically the rebirth of the company under the new management of Brittany and myself and Mark Fleming. And then we basically drew out, I think, around 475 for that first show, which was a really nice draw.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Coming off that, we got hit with COVID hard right there in February. March was our next event. We had to cancel the March show, and we didn't run again until this past February. Our last show was a couple weeks ago, and we had an outstanding crowd of over 300 people, and it was great to be back in front of like such a live crowd, and the fans were loud and they were excited all night, and they've been loud and excited for all the promotions in Louisiana. A lot of the promotions throughout Mississippi and Louisiana have been drawing, and it's good to see. You want the fan base to draw. You want people to do well. You know, the fans are what's important. That's what makes this business. And, you know, it's good to see that any company anywhere, you look on the internet and people are starting out thousands in some places. And I think it's awesome that independent wrestling is such a
Yeah. Me and Joe, we've introduced so many wrestlers from all the world, so many different characters they have had. We've interviewed like an Australian luchador. Joe knows this. We've had mother creatures on our podcast, kind of like
Creepy.
So
Yeah.
if you're looking for anyone, we're a good handout.
We got Mother Endless, which is a creepy, like, here we go. If they went in a lab and they breeded a little DNA from Kane and a little DNA from Undertaker and put it together, and it came out, and it's a woman with a mask, with makeup on her face, red and black makeup with white down the middle, and the voice of Siri. Like, she talks like this. When she talks, you listen.
That's pretty awesome. I love that gimmick. I think women could greatly benefit from women being like more characters and stuff like that instead of just being girls out there.
Yeah.
Have fun with it and give them the opportunity to go out and really create. You know, most of these companies could have a women's wrestling show by themselves. And characters like that, that's what I like about Abaddon and people like that. Because it's something different, it captures your attention. And that's like you should be like captivated by the personalities and the characters. That's what I kind of grew up on, and that's what kind of caught my eye. And what I look for in talent is people that have something to them and have a good attitude about that something they have.
Yeah, we've had a lot of, like, we had a guest on today. You should definitely look into her. Her name is Mariah. Was it Mariah
Monroe?
Mariah Monroe, and she's good. She does a lot of hardcore matches, and she's tough. She's a tough chick.
Yeah.
She's a tough chick.
Yeah. Like a lot of deathmatch wrestling.
She does a lot of death match, but I know she could probably do regular hardcore, but she's tough. We're also connected to a promotion in England called CPW, and there's a few female wrestlers on that roster that would really fit in America. We have Alfie, which is like another hardcore wrestling chick, but she does a lot of spears and does a lot of like chair moves. And then we have
She gave a girl a concerto.
oh yeah, a female concerto. She's like I was like, oh my god, did that just really happen? Like, you don't see that a lot. Like,
Stuff with the guys. I remember back in OVW, some of the girls there hit you harder than some of the guys did.
yeah.
We were actually doing mixed intergender wrestling well before it was anything popular anywhere on the independents or anything. Danny Davis and Jim Cornette and Rip Rogers and them had us wrestling the girls on a daily basis. And we were going to shows and doing intergender tag matches and stuff like that. Battle royals would include the girls. Like, we were kind of ahead of the time back to like the early 2000s.
Also, today's intergender wrestling is big. You know, it's like every independent promotion we've talked to, it's always at least a handful of men versus women matches. That's like the big thing now. So
yeah, it's like
We're back in January where Amherst was actually supposed to wrestle. She had an injury, and so I slipped Dale in with Amber Rodriguez, and it really worked out well. And they had, a good match and great chemistry, and the fans really like bought into it and enjoyed it. And it's capable in today's world. Like I said, I worked with Beth Phoenix and girls like that, and Jillian Hall and Shaniqua, and they were tough hitting big girls who, Melissa Coach, like they could hold their own with almost any guy that was in them at the time, especially Beth Phoenix. She was just an incredibly talented girl, like from the day she walked in the place.
yeah. We also just interviewed somebody from Scotland. His name's Jason Hyde. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
he's like this good thing. He's on Facebook. You definitely have to look him up. His character hates everybody. He says, "I hate every." I put his promo on Instagram, but I got freaked out because Geek sent me the thing from Facebook to my phone, and the video says, "My name is Jason Hyde," and he goes, "Hello there, weirdos of the wrestling world internet. I'm going to tell you a secret. I hate you." And I'm just like, no. I was like, called it. I told Geek, we can't post that on Instagram.
But that's part of his character, though.
I thought of it in another side of it. I was like, our wrestling fans are going to be so pissed. Like, you just told me you hate me? Okay, I'm not watching. Like, but then I went to the other side of it. He's a heel, and that brings you in.
I mean, I think the wrestling fans got a pretty wide genre of what they're interested in. So definitely what they're not interested in.
Yeah, like I got worried. Then I thought wrestling fans are not so like marshmallows these days. They're a little tougher than I think they are. They're a little tougher than we think they are. Yeah, so you said Amber Rodriguez. That's another guest. That's another guest on our wish list here at Dudes at Ringside. Because I watched some of her matches. She's a good athlete. That's a big talent right there, Amber Rodriguez.
Certainly is, and she's been around a long time, and she's got veteran leadership, and that's something that the independent scene and bigger companies are desperately in need of.
Yeah, I started watching your matches though. I think it was it Ray Fury versus Serpentico. That was an absolutely great match.
Oh, both those guys are obviously extremely talented, and Ray Fury is an international name, and Serpentico obviously on AEW now. But those guys were the backbone of the company for a long time, and really helped put Elevate Pro on the map, and extremely forever grateful for both of them. Um, it's tremendous to see guys prosper. That's what you hope for in this business. You want to see guys make it. You want to see guys elevate themselves. That's something Elevate Pro does. Is wanting guys to prosper and have, nobody wants anyone to stay home and work for you forever. You want to see the guys blossom and move out and go out there and follow their dreams. Because that's what the dreams is about.
Mhm.
And you see guys out getting an opportunity that they've worked so hard for, and some coming much later in life. Um, it's not an easy business. You guys watch it as fans and understand it from your perspective, but from the inside of it, what we go through on a daily basis and just trying to make it. And some guys are more serious than others. For some people, this is a hobby. Some people pressure themselves to the point to sickness, to drugs, to depression, to all kinds of things, trying to compete to become a star in this business. Um, being invited to a OVW or an NXT or an AEW or anything of that matter is an extremely stressful and complicated situation that most people would never understand. And the pressure you have on you to succeed is beyond expectations, because the pressure you're putting on yourself is beyond anything you've ever experienced before. So to see guys that have been around and are out there now getting opportunities and now succeeding is an awesome thing, and it's something you guys should pay attention to. With some of the older vets that are out there now kind of cashing in on a 10, 15, 20-year career because they work their ass off to get where they're at.
Pretty much.
Would you guys ever? I don't know if this happened, but would you guys ever consider like branching out to other states or?
Oh yeah, we worked with other promotions before. That was something I was really trying to accomplish during the pandemic, and we had a few successful ventures and stuff like that. I'm always for working with other people. There's never enough opportunity in wrestling. There's some shadiness, there's a lot of politics, and there's
Mhm.
definitely a lot of drama. But overall, people can benefit from people not having that affect the working relationships for the boys and girls that are trying to do something for themselves. Interpromotional stuff sometimes gets a little jumbled, but the overall goal for me always is to advance the ability for the guys that are working for us and that our core roster and people who come from the school and stuff have a place to work somewhere else and get to work with different promotions and opportunities. I'll use any contact that I possibly have or anyone I know available because that's what's most important at this point in life. Is these guys have a place. The name Elevate honestly has a lot more meaning behind it than just the name of a promotion. Like we really do try to enhance the ability of our core talent and guys. Some of these people come from bad backgrounds and dysfunctional homes and neighborhoods and things and haven't had the best life stories. And here they have a chance to kind of change that direction in their life and do something that they've loved to do and the opportunity to try to follow these dreams. It's an amazing thing to be a part of pro wrestling. I don't think anybody outside of pro wrestling will ever understand what it feels like to be a part of pro wrestling on a different.
Um, have you ever thought of like maybe coming to like try to get to connect with a promotion from like a New York group and try to do a show with them?
Originally born and raised.
Oh,
My career started in New York. Started in Yonkers, New York, at a little small training school, and was trained by this guy, the Puerto Rican assassin. He ran a small little training school in a boxing gym, and through him, I networked to other people and was able to go work out at Johnny Rod's in Brooklyn, and I was working out in places in New Jersey. I eventually moved to New Jersey, Tom's River, and I met Johnny Bucci and his brother Mike Bucci, who you guys may know as ECW Supernova and
Mhm.
as W Simon Dean. They're twin brothers, and his brother Donnie, who at the time was my best friend, won Phoenix Championship Wrestling out of Tom's River, New Jersey. For y'all, no Phoenix Championship Wrestling is a promotion that was running really strong from early 2000 to about 2005, and we were basically the foundation for Ring of Honor.
Wow.
We had all the stars that eventually moved on to bigger things: Joey Mercury, the SAT, um, Frankie Kazarian, Christian Daniels. Nova was wrestling for us. We were one of the only promotions at that time who had Eddie Guerrero, in the WWE have released him for that short time, and he came and worked Nova for us. The Phoenix Championship Wrestling was like a mega opportunity. Through that, I had TNA tryouts and got opportunities to go to a WWE tryout, which eventually led to my opportunity to go to OVW. So Donnie Bucci and Mike Bucci, Nova, those guys, I am forever grateful to for, for one, the path they laid for me for success, and also just, taking some small kid out of nowhere who kind of didn't know much, and giving me a chance to do something I dreamed of doing since I was 8 years old.
Yeah, that's what it's all about at the end of the day. I mean, to put the egos aside and make the fans happy, you know what I mean? Because I mean, to think about it this way, if you have it in a promotional match, right? Like I know some of the promotions managers are gonna be like, no, my champion can't go lose this match, or my champion can lose this match. Well, at the end of the day, it's all about what the fans want. Because if you make the fans happy, you just gained another fan right there, and that makes the promotion more money. At the end of the day.
Yep.
I read a book a few years ago, and it talked about the wrestling fans' perspective of pro wrestling. And it's a really great psychology because as a wrestling fan, the wrestling is the thing that captivated you and kind of took you out of the reality of the daily news. And the stories that we've seen over the years play out through professional wrestling, through the Attitude Era and other growing up. I don't know how far back you guys have watched, but I
Cool.
grew up getting
Yeah.
WWE stuff and World Class Championship and AWA. So I've seen all of the wrestling in New York growing up. And wrestling's evolved so much through the years and changed. But the wrestling fan, the formula for the wrestling fan has always been the same. And it's always been the good versus the evil, or the dramatic circumstances, the stacked against the odds, the hero, the villain. And when you started incorporating more of real life story, the fan was able to identify on a different level too, because what worked about Stone Cold and Vince McMahon, and what was great about it, was what person in life at one point has not had an issue or problem with a boss that they
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
and here you get to see somebody stand up for you and kind of vicariously you live through that moment of that stunner on that son of a bee that you would love to do yourself when you go to work the next morning. But
Yep.
that's that moment, that's the thing that wrestling gives people that is incredible. For years I kind of, even as a wrestler, tried to feel like, why are these fans so involved? Why are they so invigorated? And it's because when you're telling a good story, it's not always about the music. It's about getting people involved in these characters and the person and really getting them to be involved. You want them to pop for you, not for you. If they're popping for you, you're doing something right. That means you're selling T-shirts. You're probably getting TV time. Other good things are probably happening. And that's what you want. You want those fans to be in your corner like that, and you've got to give them what they want. There's a lot of guys that go out there today at teams and just smooth. And the fans really love to see someone bust their head open. But that's what they're kind of watching for in a situation like that. The fans that are like reacting to the oohs and ahs and the real emotion of like Roman versus his cousin, and when they did that back, like that kind of raw emotion stuff. People get into that. They're on every like riding high and low. You watch a lot of old wrestling, and fans are like, they pop for a suplex or a body slam just because it was the one moment that their hero got in the situation where he was getting his butt kicked. Like that's what wrestling fans give to wrestling, and a smart wrestler knows how to work with that.
So what was it? What was the moment that you watched the show, like when you were a kid, that made you want to join in with that what you saw on TV? What was that moment?
Because I watched a lot of the network, and it was definitely the first thing I ever watched was Saturday Night's Main Event. My uncle put it on. He put it on. I think he came on at like 9 o'clock Saturday night one night. I remember he turned it on, and the music hit, and then I just saw these like ridiculous characters in life, and then the action started, and I was glued. Like I wanted to know when the next one was and when I could watch it. I remember my grandma being like, "You can never watch that again," whatever. And I remember like begging my uncle to put it back on again. But literally from that very first moment, like it just hit me like I've never seen anything in my life like it. That I don't know if the word identified with it, but it just like it did something to me that like I couldn't stop thinking about.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
Is there anyone on your wrestling dream list, or?
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of people on my wrestling dream. I've had the privilege of working on that have been on television and stuff. You know, I don't need to name drop. It's it was a privilege being at OVW for the time I was there, getting to work in the developmental system. I didn't have a developmental contract, but I was a part of the advanced class, which was all the developmental workers. So we worked with them. We wrestled them every week. We wrestled them every weekend. Um, I can tell you, like my first weekend there, I was wrestling the SmackDown Tag Team Champion on a house show in
Wow.
Wow.
Indiana. And those were the kind of opportunities we had on the weekly basis. You showed up and you had something and they trusted you. So, um, it was really cool. Just the veterans that were constantly in and out. You know, you're learning from a tree of knowledge that dates back centuries of pro wrestling and experience while you're there. And I may have never became a household name in pro wrestling. I didn't make it to the big time WWE as a star, but the wealth of knowledge I learned from the people, not only there at OVW and the WWE system, but around those territories of the Mid South and New Jersey and the stars that were around, um, the old timers that would take time to teach you something and talk about something or show you something. And just looking for like other great promotions. There was a promotion in Tennessee called SAW, Southern All Star Wrestling. It was run by Reno Riggins, and for a while, Jerry Jarrett was involved with the promotion. We were doing weekend TV Saturday night, and a lot of top names and guys, from the wrestling coming through there as well. That had a chance at one point to literally be another TNA. If Jerry Jarrett had stuck around a little, but I worked for NWA. I worked for those. We did a lot of TV in those areas. We learned a lot in that from those people. Always good people around to teach and learn from. And so that's another thing, bringing that knowledge to the training center. There's a lot of guys out there that can run a wrestling school and did whatever. And I'm not the most qualified guy probably by most people's you know um, qualification list of being a household name superstar, but you also have to take into consideration where I've come from and who I've learned from. And I've trained and learned everything I've learned from Jim Cornette or Dr. Tom or Rick Rogers or Pat Tanaka or Terry Taylor or Arn Anderson or Sergeant Slaughter, anyone who's come down and talked to us or did seminars or helped us, especially Rick Rogers, just a mountain of information. Jim Cornette doing weekly, seminars with us breaking down psychology. Like to have this rolling around in your mind constantly. That's what I constantly hear when I step into a room with someone. It's those words of wisdom, how to do this and how to do that. What's weird about wrestling is sometimes you know how to do it right, and it doesn't always come out right.
Mhm.
And now I know how to teach guys how to do things right and maybe follow a better path.
Who, who from?
Um, so with the sad passing of a wrestler last night, you didn't know if he
Bobby Eaton.
Bobby Eaton. Did you ever get a chance to meet him or no?
Yeah, Bobby Eaton was a trainer at OVW for a while. Bobby Eaton also worked a lot of the Tennessee and Kentucky territory for a long time. And we've done shows down, and he's been on several of those shows. I'm pretty sure I got to work with the Tag Masters once, I remember. And just everything that's ever been said about the man is a total truth. And one of the nicest human beings you'll ever see in pro wrestling, let alone on the planet, as far as a good, humble human being, a wealth of knowledge, and a very sad loss to professional wrestling, just a very sad loss in general. We also lost Burt Prentice this week, who was a great promoter throughout the years in Tennessee. And a big part of WWE developmental back in the days, helping guys get a chance and opportunities in the business. So the wrestling business sometimes is as poor as it is wonderful, and it takes some of the grace away from it.
Also,
Bobby,
a mask guy too.
and it's just a tremendous human being.
Who, who from Elevate Pro do you think is gonna be the next rising star without putting anybody on the spot?
I think we have a few people. Amherst could be a household name without a doubt. Um, he's still in training. He's still got youth on our side. But this girl has all the potential in the world. Dale Springs is another guy um, who's been around from almost day one, and he is a hell of a talent. One of the best technical workers that gets professional wrestling here in the South, and is really starting to branch out and make a name for himself. We have the Russell Twins, which is a tag team that everybody's going to be talking about in the next few years. These are two of the most talented young individuals, high energy, just extremely talented, humble young men that every promotion that has a tag team division should be booked. And I'm dead serious. The Russell Twins. Look these guys up. Look up Elevate. You'll see their posts. These guys are amazing. They travel with another guy called Isaiah Zane, another young, talented up and comer. He's currently the Elevate Pro Uprising champion. The Twins are the Continental Cup Elevate Pro champions. And these guys are doing tremendous things as a group, a trio. They call themselves the Makers. And Antonio Bronson, the Iron Pitbull. This guy's nasty. He's going to remind you kind of the younger Taz. He's got that intensity and that kind of grit, that real life feel. And the Mountain Mendoza, we call him Caramel Lightning. And he's a big boy with a lot to prove. And these guys are strong. And they have a really good opportunity to do something and make something different. That's one of the virtues that Elevate Pro is we try to coach natural talent. I'm not going to have you sit in the sidelines for 6 months doing this or that. If there's something to work with, we're going to work with it and develop it. You can't teach some things in wrestling. You either got it or you don't got it. So that's fun.
I feel these days it's like you you think you have what you need on your roster, and then you go out and do a show, and then you're like, oh man, the fans are popped. But then you leave and you watch the video, and you're like, I missed that part. We needed that part to get us over even higher. You know what I mean?
This is something you can do better as a promoter, especially. I mean, you want the fans to leave with that experience and also that attitude of like, when's the next show? Where can I get a ticket? You want the fan leaving the show wanting to buy the next ticket to the show. If they're not, so you've done something because the show should be giving the fans a dynamic roller coaster ride of emotion and excitement that someone pays a ticket to, because isn't that what we buy a ticket to a concert to, or to a theme park, or to a baseball game or a football game? We're looking to drop the the, the, the state of mind we're in and enter a place of glory and happiness.
Yeah, completely. Like like 2 weeks ago, I went to Long Island to see Geek. We had a ticket for one show, and we found out there's the New York Wrestling Connection was doing a show. So we told them if you could put some tickets on the side for us. They did. We showed up. We've been fans of that promotion for 15 years. Me and Geek haven't been to a show in person to them for a long time. They made us like family. Family. It was just, it was my younger me and Geek were going, wow, we just got treated like family. They were hugging us at the end of the show. What did you think? What did you think? Would you like it? Then like, but right, Geek?
Yeah, it was awesome. We couldn't, say no, because that was the best experience right there.
Yeah, like if we ever take a trip to New Orleans, definitely me and Geek are gonna come see you guys and come check out we gotta come. Now we have to go to check them out. I just said it. So we have to go. If we go to New Orleans, we're gonna come. We're gonna come.
If I honestly asked any of the fans, I believe they would tell you they enjoyed the experience. I try to give everybody a little bit of everything. Even though I'm from an older school time, I understand that wrestling evolves and wrestling is constantly evolving. And so you have to adapt to all of your audience, all your fans. You can't just target one group in one particular audience.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do everything. And the wrestling fan base is always changing. It's just saying different things and you're learning different things. And social media is so much more involved. So a lot of things aren't as I have to get to the show to see it. So when they're at the show, it's really important that you really give them something to go home thinking. Because we're at an era where you can just sit home and watch it for $4.99 on Fight or something. Sometimes some of these, bigger promotions and stuff. I'd rather have the fans at the show. For you guys as fans, I know you get just as excited when the music hits. For us, and when that curtain opens, it's like a new world is opening up right in front of you. Like you're stepping into like an alternate reality. It's like an unbelievable experience as soon as that music hits in that curtain. I can't tell you, if anybody else. I think most wrestlers would say they feel that way, but there's no feeling better than that first crowd reaction of you coming through that thing.
Yep. I know for you, because I've seen pictures of you in the ring and doing your announcements. Like, what, as I said before, you just had you had one of your shows. Like, it must have the sound of the crowd after doing recordings on the YouTube without a fans there. Did you feel the reaction? Did you were like, oh my god, I can't believe there's people here, or were you just like, the people?
Oh no, I love it. I stress about the people the whole time.
Yeah.
Thousands of people in the audience. And that's what we work towards. We're working towards building our communities and building our fan base throughout the Louisiana territory, because the wrestling fans are traditionally hot here. Wrestling has been used in Louisiana going back many, many years into the 60s. Like I said, Mid South was used in these territories. JYD is a legend in the Mid South area here, and wrestling has really been a staple of this territory, and we want to bring that back. And we, are involved in so many different aspects of the wrestling business too. We cater to everyone's needs, and we support all the diversity that's here in New Orleans. We're part of many organizations and support LGBTQ and support Black Lives Matter and other things that are important to our community, because they're important to the people that are involved in our organization and they're part of our fan base as well. You know, that's what we want to keep growing and moving forward with here in Louisiana. Because Louisiana is a wonderful wrestling state.
Yeah, exactly. Because I say this on every podcast that I'm from New York, but all I could say is when I went to WrestleMania in New Orleans, probably the best WrestleMania I've ever been to.
The different energies of the fan base here. People like to party here, and they like to have fun, and they like to enjoy themselves, and you can't help but get sucked into it.
It's like in the middle of Bourbon Street, me and my friend, we were just walking. These two guys just started having a wrestling match right in the middle of the street, and there was like there were fans crowding them and everything. It was unbelievable. You had some guy dressed like Hogan, and another guy was Andre, and then sorry.
Oh no, the New Orleans the WrestleMania here have been super successful. I went to the Access at one of them a couple years ago, and it was like one of the greatest experiences of my life. And I've been in the business over something years, but I get it because I'm still a wrestling fan, just like you guys are. Like I watch, hoping to be entertained each week by something, even though I know 90% of what's about to happen before it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I try to watch it objectively as a fan, because when you lose that, it's no fun anymore.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's smart shit. But you want to actually, like, when they get you, and it's like the WWE product's been a little bit better lately and a little bit more, oh wow, I didn't see that coming, and I like that because that's the kind of stuff, when it kind of gets you, it reminds you of how awesome it can be.
And they need those fans is what they really needed, and that was the biggest thing that was missing because those
really was missing. What's going on?
I think it's the biggest difference. With the two promotions, they're both doing a tremendous job. If I'll say anything about the difference between the two, it's the production. WWE's production is just on a different level. It's also because they've been doing that kind of production for decades, so they've mastered the technology. But the fan base and how they react and the way they produce, how the fans are, is just incredible.
Are you familiar with a wrestler named Sean Crow? Is based out of Louisiana.
I'm not sure.
No, he was on our podcast recently, a couple months ago. So.
Months ago, Geek.
Yeah, what?
Me and Geek had this running joke, Benjamin, that it's it's like we're sitting in our studio, and outside the door is everybody like a roller coaster line. And as soon as the bell dings, the door opens, and we're like, "Hey, welcome to the podcast. Sit down. Let's talk."
Yeah.
I don't remember a lot of people's names. That's why it's good in wrestling. We have gimmick names. If we had to remember each other's regular names, we probably would never remember.
Yeah.
Guys for 10, 15 years that I could not tell you what their real name is.
Oh, jeez.
There's also a guy based out of Texas. His name is Tamaku. He's super entertaining.
Oh my gosh!
If anything, if you met this guy, you would claim he's like the next Rock.
His energy and the way he
the charisma is unbelievable.
Is so good that you'd be like, "Where's the contract? Where can I sign now?"
It's like why is he not signed somewhere?
Yeah,
that's what I said.
He's the savage juggernaut.
Oh, nice. That sounds interesting.
His character talks like Cookie Monster. It sounds like this when he talks.
He claims he's Cookie Monster.
Yeah, but he doesn't like the adults because he's like, adults suck. Kids are cool.
Smart. You want to target to a fan base that's gonna ultimately, push the kid. One thing I've always known, especially from the live shows, is that if you can get the kids going in the first couple rounds, you'll have the rest of the audience right behind them. Those 100% proud to go with them.
Yep, totally. Like, if you can get the kids on your side, you're golden. If you can't get the kids on your side, you're in trouble.
That's it. It's like, yeah, he goes, adults suck because they won't spend the money on Tamaku. So
there's a lot of cool Wrestling's really at a good height right now. There's a lot of talent out in pro wrestling. It's really good to see. It's great for fans. It's great for the wrestlers. You know, it's great for the families. You know, it's a good time right now. I think wrestling will always continue to thrive uh, with the passion that people have.
And there's so many different gimmicks that people could have nowadays. It's unbelievable. It's like, I mean, I know everyone says wrestling goes in cycles, but there are a couple of gems out there that you really need to check out.
There's she's from California character. She's injured currently, but she'll be back soon. Charisma. She's like a cruiserweight, but she's a good talent. She came on our podcast. She's so sweet. She's such a sweetheart, but the girl could fly. If she had wings, she'd be like a bird. She flies around. On Monday, Monday the 16th, we have Aaliyah Mia Sweet. She's like you saw what she sort of looks like that girl from that Pixar movie. What's that movie? That Crush, whatever the one. Her character looks like something out of that game Candyland.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know.
She looks like the character from that game.
I know
Yeah,
what you're talking about. Help us out, Mod. You know who we're talking about, right?
Yeah, looks like one of those characters. Leave Me a Sweet is coming on Monday. There's a female tag team that's coming on next Friday, that they're from the promotion in Tampa, WXW. They're a set of twins, and that's our first ever female tag team we're interviewing, and they're a set of twins. And
the Block Twins back in OVW. I think they were the first female twins in pro wrestling, actually.
Mm.
They were definitely you couldn't tell the two apart.
Yeah, but the difference with these two, one's blonde, one has black hair. Yeah, and also next Friday is a big one too. We're having Tito Santana's daughter on our podcast.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Jesse Haas, she's actually trained to become a wrestler as we speak.
Tito was always a great talent.
Oh gosh, yes, Tito's. That's Mr. Santana, and I as soon as I saw the name, because somebody else said, "Oh, you should try to get her," and I was like, "Yeah, she's not gonna answer my message." Immediately, boom, scene. When can I come on? I was running around. What's the calendar?
Another guy you really have to check out is Chad Epic. Is another one.
Oh yeah, Chad. Oh my gosh, Chad.
Very helpful guy. And if you need someone behind the scenes, he's a really, really good guy.
He's from he's in the Massachusetts area. He's a good manager. Like if you have a tag team, two big guys, and you need a manager that would speak for them and never let them speak again because they sound like cavemen when they talk. Toss in Chad.
Get him over.
They're probably the brain Heenan forever.
They don't use managers these days. Managers are a big part of pro wrestling.
Yep.
In a lot of ways, we can really help get guys over if they use properly. I see some out there today that do a really good job. And the thing about a manager is always add something to the match and not take away from it. A lot of guys get out there and try to get themselves in the match, but the idea is to get the match over.
Yeah, totally like
it's hard to find a great manager today. I mean, with WWE, it's very.
You don't see it a lot on TV.
Yeah,
you don't.
It's like you don't have your Paul Heymans anymore. You know.
No, and the Dangerous Alliance was a great faction back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the guys, even the Grand Wizard. I mean, with Kamala.
Oh, that's the Mod's father's one. He was mentioning him, the Grand Wizard, right there.
Yeah. Oh God, the Grand Wizard. That's golden. That's golden manager era right there. That's like my grandfather's when he wrestled. you mentioned the Golden Era tag team like the managers that everybody knows is Grand Wizard. What's his name? There's a few of them that are like you say Golden Era. Their names have to be mentioned. If they're not, it's like sacrilegious. Like if you don't mention Grand Wizard, you're not talking about the Golden Era. The Golden Era.
There are a lot of great managers.
Mhm.
It's turned into something a little different today. But I think the trio group. I like what MVP's done. He's kind of resurrected.
Yeah, he has. He's done a great transition, by the way, going from a wrestler to a manager.
Definitely, I thought, and I thought it's done good for Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley came into OVW when I was there in 2003, and from the day that kid walked in the door, you knew he was going to be a superstar.
Mm-hmm.
He was less than a month and called up to television, and he never came back. That's how talented Bobby Lashley was from day one. But
And the thing,
never really had that talking charisma. And when MVP came along and they paired up, it really took Bobby Lashley, took him to a new height in his career that he deserved to have because he's that talented of a guy who's earned his seat in this business.
I thought Bobby Lashley did good talking in TNA when he was there.
He had a good opportunity, but if you look at the talent around him, there were very few and very limited guys that could really get over on the mic.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So we're actually later in the month we're actually having Al Snow on the podcast from OVW.
Al Snow, I've had the privilege of working on several independent feature films with in Louisville, Kentucky. I've had the privilege of wrestling Al. I've had the privilege of learning from him on several occasions. One of the smartest minds in professional wrestling today. You can learn so much about the pro wrestling business from Al, just listening to how he breaks down psychology for things that he said to me 10 years ago that still ring in my mind to this very day when I'm teaching or when I'm working with someone that, about pro wrestling and how important certain things are. And probably just one of the most tremendous aspects to the business to have someone who's as smart as him still around sharing his knowledge with people.
If you could grab someone from AEW or WWE, who would you grab?
As a talent?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you'd have to go with who would probably draw you the most money.
Mm-hmm.
Out of anybody's roster, that would obviously be John Cena.
Uh-huh.
Who would draw the most fans and the most money? John Cena would be the one.
Mm-hmm.
From a fan standpoint, from someone that I'd like to see or like to have around that's on the current roster that I haven't met or been around already, I'd say probably Roman.
Roman.
I think he's done a tremendous transition as well.
Mm-hmm. And this is.
I think he found something different in himself. With some guys, it takes a while. I think it took me 10 years for the light bulb to go off, to where I finally was really starting to understand things at a level that was being productive for him. So Roman, I think, is at that point in his career now where he's got top tier talent potential.
It's like it's like it took the. I mean, this is what every fan wants right now. Like 10 years ago, everybody wanted Roman to turn heel and be that big bad heel, and right now, he's killing it. Right now, he's killing it. So.
And they haven't messed it up really with trying to throw too much into the development story, and they've done a good job with it. And of course, Paul Heyman definitely did that, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Paul's obviously probably one of the bigger regrets is my first term in OVW. I got out in 2000 and early 5 before Heyman got down there. and I so wish I had the chance to work with him. And what a tremendous like mind and smart guy in pro wrestling. So I think that his coaching and his work there is definitely helped the Usos.
Hmm.
Loving your toy collection in the background, by the way.
I'm having my toy collection in the background too.
Is that like the old school like WWF, like the ones that don't move, they're like that?
Yeah, the old LJN figures, the original Hulk Hogan from 1984. These things I had when they actually came out, and to have my hands on them. I remember someone telling me to throw them all out at one point, and it was time to move on, and I was like, no, but I did. I wish I didn't. Because in that book, there's a bunch of He-Man figures as well, which are quite expensive on the toy market right now.
Mm.
Those though, the restored ones, the really good ones, are going for ridiculous prices. And the ring itself, like the old ring, like and I think like those were laying, you bought them at like Walmart or whatever, $5, and now they're selling for like hundreds of each. Some of them really ridiculous.
I actually have, I don't know if you have this one in your collection, the Andre the Giant, like the Hogan one you just had in your hand, and his hands are out like this, and he has the big afro with the blue tights.
There were two different versions of the Andre that they came out with. One had that afro, and the other had the shorter hair version. And that I don't have that one. I have Steamboat. I have the British Bulldog, Nikolai Volkov, and Bruno Sammartino. And then I have the thumb wrestlers.
Mm.
Big John Studd. I was always the heel. I love the heels. As a kid growing up, I wanted Hogan to get his ass kicked up. I may be one person of that time era that was rooting against Hulk Hogan, but like I wanted everybody to kill Hulk Hogan. But like I loved Kamala. Like I loved like King Kong Bundy, like Big John Studd. Like I always wanted Hogan to lose.
Yeah. It's like, it's so funny.
Both of your time.
Oh, as I said, I'm a golden era child, so like I was spoiled by going to Madison Square Garden, and more like half these kids I knew.
I'm more the new school, so I like the New Japan stuff.
I like Howard Finkel, Gorilla Monsoon, Bobby the Brain Heenan, what's that British guy that used to come out before the show? Like, hello, my name is here, and I'm here in the crowd to announce the show. And that guy, the British guy that would be backstage. Well, Michael, no. Oh my God, I can see his face. He wore the weird suits all the time with the big collars. He was the British guy that worked for WWE.
There was a lot of good talent back then. The commentary was tremendous back then. It was so live and so raw and so raunchy. It was extremely entertaining stuff.
Yeah.
I got a question. Somebody who should have won the title in WWE that never won the title.
You're going back to like of all time?
Yeah, of all time, yeah.
I'll tell you mine, you know.
Go for it.
That were really deserving, to be honest. There's two that stand out that I think could have been world champions at some point if they had been given the opportunity. One would be Rick Rude.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Possibly Mr. Perfect.
Definitely, that was
Another one, yes.
Another one.
In my game, I gave him a random title shot in 2K19 just to just throw him a bone because I didn't really see him. Only in my game I tossed the Intercontinental title. I was like, I always create a WWF in my game. I always do. Geek knows. And then I just got bored of making it WWF because I would have to make WCW. I made one just called Legends. And I kept doing matches. Rick Rude won the IC title, lose him, and then I just said, that night, I just had him challenge the champion in a commentary before the show, beginning of the show, and I had him in the main event against the champion. I'm like, he's not gonna beat the champion. He's gonna lose. I was like, oh my God, Ravishing Rick Rude is the new World Wrestling Federation champion. Holy crap, what did I just do? It happened.
He's good enough.
I would say Regal's one of them. Got to be up there too.
He could have been a top heel in the company, right? Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Hogan would have never laid down for him.
Nope. And Perfect. I can remember this. You think about it. Perfect never won the World Wrestling Federation title, but he did take it in his hand and smashed the life out of it during was it Saturday Night Main Event? Or was that just a house show he did that?
Not sure he did that.
You remember seeing that?
I don't remember seeing that. I know I met Mr. Perfect at my TNA tryout back in early 2002. I think it was 2001, and I was actually impressed and mesmerized at how much bigger in person he was than he looked on TV. Because on TV, he always looked like a smaller guy. But in person, he was taller than I am, and I'm 6'4". So he was every bit 5 or 6'6". And his arms were like tree trunks. He was the biggest biceps like I've seen. And just, I was totally awestruck at how big and strong and he was, as opposed to what he looked like all those years. That was definitely another in for me when I had met him. Like, man, he could have been a champion for sure. Like,
yeah.
The way he sold and the way he could talk on the mic, he could have been ahead, especially with Bobby Heenan by his side. He could have definitely had a run.
Like, I remember when he left Bobby and he was working with the coach at like about SummerSlam '91. And I was like, what did you do? Why do you put this random Joe Schmo, the coach, in Mr. Perfect's corner? What a waste of like a managerial spot for. Is it a substitute, like a bad, when you're like trying to look down the bench and find the best player to replace the good player, and you're like, okay, I'm just gonna toss in some random Joe Schmo, give him a whistle, give him a hat. Okay, let's toss the coach in as Mr. Perfect's manager for his biggest match in his career against Bret Hart at SummerSlam '91. Throw some dude called the Coach. What?
Not all the booking is great.
It did fit because Mr. Perfect, the Coach.
Who's your number one?
Yeah. That.
Regal, I said Regal would have been another great world champion.
Wrestling wise, without a doubt. Although Regal has personality, actually, I just don't think they ever allowed Regal to have it. I remember the skits with Tajiri.
Yeah.
Those are some of my favorite, like in between, like little things with Regal and Tajiri.
Eugene too.
Because Regal could have definitely been. You're right. Who else do you have?
I got another one. Test. They should have definitely gave Test a title run.
Test deserved a title run.
I would have said Goldust.
He had something. I just always see something in him like he could be a champ. He could have been a really good champion.
I don't know, man. He was definitely kind of like, he reminded me too much of Van Hammer.
Yeah, I can see it now. But I thought he was a good talent when he was
very one-dimensional. Great look, great size, but didn't offer you anything more than just what he put out.
Would you say Goldust?
Who else did you say?
Goldust?
Goldust, definitely, I think, at some point, as maybe a fluke thing, but like could have taken it seriously and he could have held on to it for a while. But I thought the Goldust gimmick was good. I don't know how Dustin honestly feels about it to this day, but I think as far as something taking you from just kind of mediocrity to a superstar status overnight was the Goldust gimmick.
Especially in the '90s,
Yeah,
like the early '90s, like with the parking lot brawl and all that. He could have taken.
Oh my God.
he wasn't real. You know, he was just Dustin Rhodes.
Yeah.
Or anything, whatever. But
Mm.
once Goldust came, he really found himself as a performer,
Mm.
and that's where the difference is made.
I could also see maybe, I don't know, either you may not feel this, but Albert.
Albert, as a big guy, could have maybe like at the ECW level of what WWE was doing, could have been an ECW champion for sure.
Hmm.
But I don't know about like the WWE champion.
Mm.
He's a talented guy, a smart guy, great like in-ring performer. But as far as like champion, I don't know. Definitely maybe like ECW champion.
Hmm. Another talent that only kept the IC title, never went past that. Honky Tonk Man.
Honky, it's that era thing again though, because you're going back to a time where like there weren't a lot of guys that Vince was gonna put the strap on over Hogan.
Hmm.
He had a short thing with Hogan, and he wasn't gonna take many opportunities to jeopardize that. But definitely, Honky was probably up there with Jake the Snake and Macho Man as one of the top heroes of that time,
Mm.
without a doubt. One of the most memorable heels. So
Yeah.
he could have had a run if they would have won it. But
There's quite a few wrestlers in that era that that you would have loved to put on the strap, but everybody always like let's give it to, like you said, a Jake Roberts, but then Hogan's over here like, nah. Remember me? Oh, don't worry about it. Give it back to Hogan. Give it back to Hogan again. He wants that belt again. You know what I mean? It's just like anybody else in that roster could have been champion for like a few months, but then they were like, you know what? Oh, 90s. That's the Hulkamania thing's still alive. Let's give it back to Hogan.
I think a lot of those guys in that era would have liked that opportunity. I mean, it was the pretty much like uprising of pro wrestling during the 80s when like the explosion of content across international waters. Like everybody was starting to see this new wrestling, you know, these characters and all this craziness. And you had to ride with the time. A lot of these guys deserved it and worked for it and would have been great champions, but they probably honestly didn't have the market value that Hulk Hogan did.
Ooh, I got another one. Owen Hart.
Oh, Owen Hart,
Definitely.
he could have definitely taken it from Brett for sure.
He
That
should have. Wasn't he supposed to beat Brett at that show at the Garden? Wasn't he supposed to beat him?
I'm not sure what the backstage story on that was, but he's someone who could have definitely had it. I agree with you 100% on that. Another tragic loss in pro wrestling is
Oh,
someone.
that was. Oh,
He's another one of those guys like Bobby Eaton that is not a person probably on the planet that has something bad to say about it.
yeah. Just like such a sad loss, for Bobby Eaton. I was just like, I saw people talking about him on the other side of Instagram that tells you what you should search. I'm like, why are they talking about Bobby Eaton? And then I said something to Geek. I said, what?
I mean, the Midnight Express and Rock and Roll Express are stories and legendary matches that have basically sculpted the landscape of tag team wrestling as we know it today. And any tag team that's out there now knows who Bobby Eaton is, knows who Ricky Morton is, knows who Dennis Andre is, you know, Stan Lane, Robert Gibson, you know, those guys did tremendous things at a time where wrestling was on fire. The South was on fire for wrestling, and those people went and sold out territories like left and right. Like to see these matches against each other, it was incredible.
Yep. Like Just think. So,
Do you have any upcoming matches you would like to promote? Like any shows that are coming up?
We don't have any shows on the docket right now until November. We're working on securing a location. That's going to be our anniversary show. With things spiking up again right now in the state of Louisiana and across the South, with COVID, we're being kind of cautionary because we're going backwards instead of forward.
Hmm.
So it's like things are starting to re-regulate and move differently. So I'm sure over the next couple months that anybody's going to be allowed to do, or at least the next month. But we're getting ready to launch our next season of Resurgence Television. It streams on Fight TV. It also streams on Deep Sky TV through Roku and Apple TV. And we're also on YouTube at Elevate Pro Wrestling. And that's Elevate ELV, the number 8. And so that's going to be a big deal coming out. That should be our season 5. And so that's what we're focused on right now. A lot of our guys are out working and traveling, doing different things. We're kind of just taking it easy right now and making sure that things don't keep crazy again before we start trying to, sell out a show and then not be able to run it because
do you know, is there like anywhere that if somebody wanted to buy one of your t-shirts, is there like a website you have to go on, or is it like Pro Wrestling Tees?
Pro Wrestling Tees has the Elevate Pro t-shirts selection. They handle all of our merchandise. We also have all the links to our stuff at elevatepro.com. So you can definitely go to elevatepro.com and keep up with all of our upcoming events and stuff like that. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. You definitely go to our YouTube channel and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's free, and there's a lot of exciting content on there. We recognize a lot of faces in the matches and the shows are really well produced and have a lot of fun content available.
I wants to ask, do you have any pets?
Okay, before a head pops, come on.
I have 2 cats. Zeke is hiding somewhere. Nefertiti's. Come here.
Nefertiti's.
Nefertiti's.
Yeah.
So Egyptian.
You hear that? She talks to me.
Yeah.
She's aesthetically, she's looking herself, There's nothing more important to a cat than looking himself. So.
She doesn't want to be on camera. She's like, no.
That's cool though.
Not like been up here and moving around. She's definitely very curious.
I have 2 dogs. Sorry. I have 2 dogs. So like, I had 2 dogs. Now I have 1, but like, they're always looking for something. Like you'll be sitting there doing something, and then it's like, what are you doing? Watching TV, eating a bag of chips. Well, is that chips for me too? Okay.
A lot of attention. Cats are a lot more laid back and self-sufficient until they need something. Like my cat will wake me up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go put food in their bowl, and then I'll go put food in their bowl, and they won't touch it. They just like that, but it's part of being, I guess, a responsible parent. Taking care of them. I don't let them outside anymore. They're not outside cats. They stay inside. Dogs require lots of outside stuff. And maybe here sometimes you can break a sweat leaving your front porch to your mailbox. So, usually, like, for the last couple of weeks, it's been around 115 degrees.
What?
115 degrees.
Crazy.
We can't even say that because the wrestling show we went to, the outdoor show, the NYWC one, it was about 100 degrees out that day. We were outside.
Joe was 90 degrees.
I lied. I feel like it was 100 degrees because we were sweating.
It was 90 degrees, Joe, but it felt like it was like 110.
I was
It's like if the air is a little bit more dead down here, like you're surrounded by the Gulf Coast, and so all the humidity is coming in off of the ocean, and it's just like you're trapped in this like swamp of this heat, and it's crazy.
Yeah. So we don't want to hold you up. If you have to go, Benjamin, we can let you go. We don't want to hold you up because we know different time zone. So
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on here. I definitely been an honor. This is awesome, and I look forward to our other Elevate Pro alumni coming on and sharing their experiences and stuff with you.
Uh-huh.
But
please spread the word to the locker room. We would love to see more of your wrestlers, even though you got the glamorous one coming on later on this month, and then I wish I should have had it opposite. I should have had Brittany, then the glamorous one, but that's how it works.
Brittany's extremely talented in her own right, and she's done a lot of good things for this company. She's the only female owner of the company here in Louisiana that they've ever had, and she does a tremendous job on publicizing it and getting this company's name off the ground. So we all work as a great team, and it's an honor for you guys to have noticed the talent and stuff that we're doing. And I really thank you for having me on here today.
No problem.
No, thanks for taking the time out, dude.
Thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to come and see us, because we're just a little podcast, like a little choo-choo train going up the hill, and you guys are just like helping us.
You guys are the mountain right there.
Yeah.
The pro wrestling business going to be what it is, and as being on the other side of the business, I always thank you guys, because without you, I wouldn't have had the experience in my lifetime that I've had, and I know my students and future students wouldn't have the experiences and the opportunities they're going to have without guys like you. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night, guys.
You too.
Stay awesome.
Well, what a great interview, Joe. That was freaking awesome.
So awesome. Yeah. Thank you to Benjamin J. Woods.
You got it right this time, Joe. It's Benjamin J. Woods. That's right.
Yeah, I got it wrong because I was reading your name thingy on top, geek jerk. Yeah, chat. Geek's a jerk. He made me mess up, made me butcher his name, because his name on the thing I'm looking at on the top says Benjamin Wood. But thank you for coming on the podcast, Benjamin J. Wood. I would love to, can't wait to have you back. And I'm gonna hand it off to Geekenstein.
All right, and I just want to thank Benjamin J. Woods for coming on the podcast. I just also wanted to let everybody know that starting now, if I could just show it real quick. Where can I show it?
I don't know. What can you show, geek?
What can I show, Joe?
Stupid jerk. You're messing me up.
That you could buy your tickets to Scars and Stripes. It's on sale right now, right? Scars and Stripes. You got to buy your tickets. And not only NYWC, wherever you are in the world, support your local indies. Please buy a ticket to a shirt. Buy a ticket to a shirt. Buy a ticket to a show. Buy a ticket. I'm screwing up.
You gotta stop. Shut up. Let me do it. Buy your tickets to any promotion they're going on. Check out Stars and Stripes. NYWC Stars and Stripes.
August 14th.
Starting at 7 p.m. Be there. And don't forget, support your local indies and get a t-shirt on ProWrestlingTees.com.
While you're at
it, Geek always fucks this up.
It's http://streamlabs.com/dudes at ringside. http://dudes at ringside. And I'm the Geek, and this is Joe.
Panther the Thad.
We're out of here.
We outie. Bye. Thank you, Grandpa. Thank you, cuz. Lighting the way for Latino wrestlers. Bye.